happens if my containment field gets into the red? It blows up. There's so many things that can cause this thing to blow up. It could go any minute. Oh, and if the core temperature gets too hot, it blows up. I'm thinking this thing might blow up today. Oh, this is kind of a cool little feature. The variable switch, the potentiometer. Basically what I've been doing is you have to ignite the reactor on a very, very low setting. But as your saturation climbs and your containment field strength climbs, you can crank it up a little bit to inject more power, to create more power. And you can kind of see I've cranked it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I've cranked this thing up. I'm pushing max. I'm thinking if I crank it up one more time, big about a boom, maybe. Okay, trying to think of a good place to start in here. I'm thinking over here. I didn't have enough compact drawers. I couldn't fit them all upstairs, so I just continued them to go down, and most of them are my B's. And because most of them are B's, I figured, hey, let's build our B centrifuges right here. So I don't have all the honeycomb block being processed into honey and resources, but I do have a good amount of the stuff I use the most. You know, iron, gold, stuff like that. And of course my honey, I've got my honey going out to my other machines. If you'll notice, I had a honey tank on my smelter. That was actually the only way to make, that's the only way I could mass produce honey blocks. Just put the honey in the smelter, turn them into blocks. Worked like a champ. And it was all automated. Okay, let's take a look. These are just my furnaces. Now, for any crafting recipe, every mod has their own special furnace. Mechanisms, integrated designs, industrial engineering, they all have their own furnace. But man, you cannot beat rainbow furnaces from the iron furnaces mod. It doesn't matter what I'm wanting. If I'm wanting processors, some refined storage, all of that. Sand to glass, grout, what else we got up here? Gilded blackstone, Ethereum ore, dark matter, raw plastic. I mean, whatever you need smelting, this is the way to go. Alright, quick question. I know we said we was going to make this. I'll just give you a rundown. Of course, this is the nether. We've seen the nether. I've set up some automation in the nether. Got some quarries in the nether. This is the Undergarden. Collected the resources I needed to progress and set up a quarry, but other than that, I haven't really gone back a whole lot. This is Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the portal to the Sonic world. It's okay. They didn't really cross-platform building with the materials, but what they did do was just say, hey, you need to collect a stack of popcorn, or you need to collect a stack of dirt. I don't know. It was just basically a collection quest. This goes to the Lost City, which, once again, There's nothing really I needed from the Lost City, except it's a good place to build a quarry. You know, because there's a lot of good resources in the Lost City. This goes to Ratlantis. Once again, had to collect very specific resources from Ratlantis. I think I set up one quarry, but there's only so much cheese you can collect. I said Ratlantis, yeah, that's what it is. This is Better Dungeons, Dimensional Dungeons. It's basically just a pocket dimension that you just explore and gather resources. It's a really good early game way of dungeon diving without really being in too much danger, like, you know, just simple iron armor. You can go through, it's just got your basic creepers and skeletons. Gather resources. Great place to gather resources. You know, it's a protected pocket, so you can't like build or collect things you're not supposed to collect. There's a few puzzles in there. I'm not happy with the puzzles, but that's okay. That is to the mining dimension. And believe me, I've spent a lot of time mining out the mining dimension. You love that mod? Yeah, I know, right? It's awesome. This goes to the Void. Now, we at least have to visit the Void, because this is where I built one of my reactors. This is the maximum size for the Extreme reactor. And I'm producing 773 million RF per tick. I got plenty of fuel. Of course, the fuel that gets depleted is the cyanite, which I reprocess and repurpose. So right now, it kind of turns itself on and off. I haven't figured that out. Okay, over here we have more of the mechanism evaporators, because we need more brine, because we need to turn it into liquid, which turns into lithium, and then the lithium gets turned into lithium dust. And then we bring it over here, combine our lithium with our tritium, which our tritium comes from, no, lithium gets turned into tritium, tritium gets turned into a fusion reactor. This is kind of a weird reactor. Got tritium and deutonium going into the injector. You know, I still haven't figured it out. This is all just to light the fusion. That's it. Once you light it, you got to turn it off. You want to have an on-off switch. This is all being turned. Heavy water. Yeah, this is heavy water. Oh, I forgot how I made heavy water. Oh, oxygen, that's it. Okay. And the power coming out is supposed to be going into here. This is a storage container. It's capable of storing 1 petabyte of power, but I'm using it as fast as I'm creating it. So my turbine, this is producing 3 million RF per tick, which should be making more. This is my fission reactor. The only thing, the fission reactor is not even producing power. It's just producing steam for the turbine. That's all it's doing. That's all it's doing. But I am taking the radioactive waste from here and converting it to polonium, which the polonium goes into, what is this? My supercritical phase shifter. There's my polonium. And my supercritical phase shifter gets turned into antimatter. And then my chemical crystallizer takes the antimatter and turns it into antimatter pellets. The only thing I've been using the antimatter pellets for is the EMC. Yeah, I remember when antimatter pellets was the largest EMC I could produce. This is kind of neat. This is kind of my reactor kept blowing up. This is emergency shutdown. It's super simple. We have a logic adapter. In case of a high temperature or excess waste or pretty much anything, insufficient fuel, damage, it will activate a redstone signal. And all it does is cause a piston push a block up to the observer, which goes into another logic gate. You can kind of see it in the glass there. And that logic gate is set to disable or turn off. That's it. It'll turn the reactor off in case of anything. That's it. It's just a little external switch. And then that's my reset button. I have been trying to keep this, oh man, this build. Trying to build the fuel for the reactor because I need fissile fuel. And fissile fuel requires all this processing to produce fissile fuel. Yeah. There's one snag in the system though. Fluoride. I keep running out of fluoride. But one level wasn't enough. 2 levels wasn't enough. I built 3 levels. And it's all automated. The whole fissile fuel processing plant is in this little compact area here. I tried to make it even more compact than it is, but this is about as compact as I could get it. You know, the water comes in, it's separated into oxygen and hydrogen. Hydrogen comes here, oxygen goes there, goes in here. I mean, you can kind of see it's an assembly line. Then from here, it breaks out. Then here and here and there. And had to have a second water source. I don't know why I just didn't run the water pipe all the way over. I think it's because I ran out of water. Then I have to run power to everything. But anyway, I've got all my reactors in the void. I've got reactors in the void because in case anything blew up, I didn't want it to be my main base. So that was a pretty good design. Gotta have a lot of water. Gotta keep things cool. Alright, anyway. So before, this is pretty much where every bit of power is coming from for the entire base. That's big. That's what she said. Okay, anyway, so until I built this, that was the large. And this I'm not even really using. Yeah, I'm kicking out 23 million RF per tick. I'm not using it. I'm just storing it. In fact, I showed you where I was storing it, didn't I? Right there. That's my battery. Everything is coming into here. 20 million RF per tick. Like I said, it's not going to the base. It's only going to the storage core. That's it. The only output is what goes back into the reactor to maintain the containment field. That's it. And that's 2.5 million RF per tick. Okay. So that's basement 1. This is basement 2. All right, down here, I moved my little vanilla setup. You know, smithing table, furnace, rock cutter, potion. This was my first automated smeltery. It was on the first floor, but as the first floor grew, I decided to move it down here. I still put stuff in here. Oh, plastic. I was doing raw plastic until I automated the raw plastic. My anvil. But this is, you know, all beginning game. You know, the coke oven, the alloy kill, the creosote oil. This is all beginning level. Even the improved blast furnace for steel, all early game. And it's just down here being stored. Don't even use it. It's not even automated because I have automated machines that do all this now. Like every one of these, I have a bee producing steel, bee producing coke. This is my first oil derrick. Oddly enough, when you go around and you take core samples, this was the only place that had oil. And I was like, well, I guess instead of putting my oil derrick outside, I'll put it inside. And I just have it going into the ender tank, which, as we saw earlier, goes to the oil storage outside for the refinery. So that's why the oil derrick isn't outside with the rest of the immersive engineering, is that the oil is in my basement. All right, this was the ender crafter. I only needed this many alternators for like one item, and I've never used it again. Oh, this is the inject. No, the I think this is for the containment field. It also has a an actuator, but I don't use it. I built this for one project and one project only. To make Enderium. That was it. Evidently, there's no Enderium B. Who'd have thought that? If they're going to make a B for every material in the game, why not Ethereum? So I'm like, alright, I don't want to waste my big smeltery for just one item. Because I was making a singularity, and I needed thousands. So I'm like, maybe I can build a baby smeltery.